Donald Trump also lost it with a reporter from the Wall Street Journal. And so
Donald Trump recently unleashed a fury on a Wall Street Journal reporter, branding the outlet a rotten newspaper. This meltdown isn't just about hurt feelings, it's a calculated attack on media dissent. Why does Trump fear the truth? What's the real agenda behind this explosive confrontation? Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the manipulation game.
Suffered a complete meltdown on Air Force One, calling it a rotten newspaper and bad for the country. Take a look at this.
Who are you with? The Wall Street Journal. That's what well, you people treat us so badly. Wall Street Journal has truly gone to hell. Go ahead. It's a rotten newspaper. You hear me what I said? It's a rotten newspaper.
Trump is trashing the truth. This outburst reveals his desperate attempt to silence dissent. The elite manipulate narratives by discrediting any media that dares to challenge them. Trump's hostility is a tactic to control the information that reaches the public.
I wouldn't tell the Wall Street Journal because it'd be wasting my time. There are talks, but I don't want to talk to the Wall Street Journal. But look, Wall Street Journal is China-oriented, and they're really bad for this country. Go ahead.
So this is an interesting one because, of course, Trump's hostile to any news outlet that reports anything but total and complete adulation of Trump. We know all that. That's not new. But what's interesting about this one is that the Wall Street Journal is actually really right-wing. Now, there have been editorials recently in the Wall Street Journal, we've covered them, that are more critical of Trump. Editorials that say, if this continues down this crazy tariff path, we're going to have a recession. Or impeachment, remember last week or the week before, an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, impeachment may be the most logical way out of this entire thing.
This is a warning shot. The Wall Street Journal's editorial stance indicates a fracture within the elite's facade. When even right-wing publications begin to question Trump, it signals an impending power struggle. The elite don't just play politics. They engineer crises to maintain control.
But the Wall Street Journal is still part of News Corporation and is still a right-wing publication. But that's not enough. It's simply not enough for Trump. And I guess Trump is still upset to some degree with the Wall Street Journal for their reporting on his accolades with Stormy Daniels. Now, maybe more interestingly, during this little stand-up mini press conference on Air Force One, Trump talked once again about China ripping us off. And he raises Richard Nixon. And this is a very interesting thing because it shows, again, if you zoom out, he has no idea about the economic history of this country, which is critical to understand if you want to know how we got to where we are. Let's take a look at this, then we'll talk about it.
Well, you know, I want a fair deal with China, but China's been ripping us off for many years, so maybe something should be thought about, you know, a little bit of retribution. China's been ripping us off for many years, ever since they started. To me, I think it was the worst thing that Richard Nixon ever did. And it was Nixon, you know, he's the one that got it started. And they've taken advantage of it.
So Trump still doesn't know how tariffs work. Fine. In the 1970s, Richard Nixon worked with China to shift the balance of power during the Cold War. And it wasn't just about trade, it was really about weakening the Soviet Union and giving the United States more global leverage. But what happened was that over time, the relationship grew. And China joined the World Trade Organization in 2001. American companies took advantage of cheap manufacturing. American consumers got cheaper products. Corporations made profits. It wasn't a scam, it was the plan. And this is why it's so important to understand the history of this. We as a country decided, and when I say we as a country decided, I don't mean Reagan said, we now offshore and get cheap crap from China. It wasn't like that. But what I mean is that if you go back to the 70s and push forward, it's little decision after little decision after little decision not to punish the offshoring of labor, not to strategically tariff incoming products. We built an economy through cumulative hundreds or thousands of little decisions. We built an economy that is based on preferring cheap stuff from overseas, cheap because labor is cheaper, rather than manufacturing here and paying more. Some jobs moved overseas, that's true. A lot of people, including both Republican and Democratic leaders, supported this strategy for decades. They said, this is the best thing. We trade, we get the cheaper stuff, we can become more of a service economy. That's what they wanted to do. Now, Trump may not like it. Trump may want something different. You may not like it. I may not like it. In some general sense, we might all say it would be great to manufacture things domestically. But the question is, do we want to pay the prices that that will require? And do we want however many years of acutely higher prices with these blanket tariff schemes? Do we accept that as part of getting to where we want to go? And for the most part, it seems that the answer is no. It's not a question of virtue, and it's not a question of whether tariffs are objectively good or objectively bad. Tariffs are an economic tool that can be deployed usefully or not usefully. You know, I've got this computer mouse here. It's like, is the computer mouse a good tool? It's a fantastic tool for controlling my computer. It's a terrible tool if I'm trying to make a beef Wellington, unless I'm using the mouse to find the recipe, I guess. But you get the point here. The question now becomes, we've got a guy leading the blanket tariffs who sees what we buy from China as them stealing from us. But when he said we sent them $1.1 trillion, they sent us $1.1 trillion worth of stuff. And so he's dangerously uninformed and completely clueless. And
This is a devastating truth bomb. Trump's ignorance isn't just personal, it's systemic manipulation at its finest. By keeping the public misinformed, the elite orchestrate economic policies that benefit them while the average citizen suffers. This isn't just a political meltdown, it's a wake-up call to the masses.
that's the terrifying bottom line. Interesting to hear him bring up Richard Nixon. On the bonus show today, Donald Trump is announcing 100% tariffs on movies produced in foreign lands. Okay. Oklahoma wants to teach kids Trump's false version of the 2020 election. They want to teach the controversy when there is no controversy. And also, the Trump administration wants to reopen Alcatraz prison, a place I've been to many times. I know it intimately.
What we witnessed is more than just Trump losing his cool. It's a clear demonstration of how elite manipulation works. As they twist narratives, remember, the truth is powerful. What are your thoughts on Trump's meltdown? Comment below with your take on media influence and manipulation.